Lights, camera, and action! Hi everybody, Havran here, and today I prepared a very interesting topic for you, movie roles. I love learning about the videography and cinematography, how movies are shot, what different roles are in, and I do believe that it might be interesting for some of you, so let's dive straight into it, shall we? So, first off, we need to explain, well, I need to explain to you, how does the movie roles differentiate between themselves in a few different ways. So, when you are looking at the movie credits after the film ended, there is something called above the line and below the line for every name that is mentioned in the credits. What is the difference in here? Above the line is usually mentioning people who have fixed salary. That means the cost of their labor for the movie is fixed, and it doesn't matter how long they are shooting or how long they are used in the movie. If the production goes over the time, they usually don't get paid overtime because their role is paid as per movie. These are usually screenwriters, the producer assistants, director, and probably ADs, main actors and such. They have their contracts with fixed salary, and most of them have their salary dependent on not only the fixed cost but also how does the movie do in the box office. That means if the movie does extremely good, they get paid more. If the movie doesn't do very well in the cinemas, yeah, their pay is not going to be as great. In contrast with below the line workers, who are the variable cost of the movie, because they are the hourly paid crew and their hourly salary is based on their role and the expertise level they bring to the table, right? And in here it's all the different operators, costumers, it's everybody from the set construction, right? People in the post-production like editors. There's also catering, special effects, daily line production, right? Audio, all the makeup artists, all the guys with props, and other roles. But the movie and the roles during the movie are not always, these people are not always used in the whole production, because there's also the production timeline, which means we have a pre-production, a production, and a post-production, and not all of these roles are used in every single one of them. For example, extras or actors, right? Actors might have some pre-production, but not very far into the future of the movie. They need to learn their lines from the script, but they are very close to production and they don't have any work in the post-production. Once shooting is done, their job is done. But there are people that work only in the pre-production, and after the production ended in the post-production, their job is done. So that's like location scouting or building the sets and stuff like that. There are then people who work only post-production because they are the visual effects artists or other people from, let's say, audio department. Before the shooting begins, they have nothing to work with. So, in the pre-production, there's the first thing that is needed to be said is the story, right? That's the screenwriters, that's the adaptation. If it's based on a book or a video game, there are people that need to do the licensing. Then there's the budget. how much is whole of the production is going to cost, and where to get money for the shooting and all the post-production and checks, legal and all that stuff, right? After we have a story and a budget, we need to set a schedule. When is going to be the shooting of each scene? Obviously, if you have like 10 cameras that each one of those cost several €100,000, or in a smaller production several €1,000, you can't have them scattered around in several different locations if you need them to shoot several angles at the same time. That's the scheduling. Then before the shooting there's crew, or the people that are going to build the sets, that are going to get the props needed for the movie shootings. Also other roles like drivers and stuff. Then there's the talent. There are like talent scouts who help find and fill the roles, and not only for the main actors but also for the extras. There needs to be some paperwork done if you are going to shoot in different locations, for example in different countries. A lot of back office stuff. And well, also locations. Most of the location scouting is not only where we are going to shoot, but also what are the local laws, what are the regulations, how to do the amazing epic shot with the helicopter or a car chase in a city center. There's a lot of work done far before the movie starts to shoot in order to secure everything, right? So this is the pre-production, and there's a lot of people involved in the pre-production, but just trying to make it simple, because if I was to explain every single role of a movie, well, we've been here for a few hours. So from the pre-production to the production itself. Now the production itself, it's on the set, daily shootings, right? And we have the production crew and the support crew. Production crew, that's mostly camera and lights. That's what you see on the screen, right? And also actors, but these are the people who help deliver the performance on the screen from the technical side, right? Then there's the sounds and audio, and that is all the microphones, all the cabling and other gear. Also there are walkie-talkies to communicate between all the different roles on the set. There are also people who do like behind the scenes shots, continuity checking and stuff like that. Also art department, very important. They are regarding the set designs, also props used in the movies. Also then with the support crew we have costumes, makeup, hair, and people who take care of how the talent, how the actors look on the scene, right? We have stunts and effects, fog, fire, explosions, jumping out of a window, fake blood when you get shot in the chest and stuff like that. And also catering and services. A big movie crew requires, well, a lot of servicing. You need people to have water, you need them to have something to eat, you need them to have a place where to go to the toilet, where to take a shower, where to take nap. Also, if you're doing on location shooting, you need to have transport, right? If you are shooting in the middle of the forest, all the people need to get there and back. So that's the support crew. Now, in the post-production, we have visual and audio, right? And we have the basic video editing, that is cutting the clips. Then we have the visual effects done on the movies, all the compositing and rotoscoping, also color grading the movies, because the big movie cameras, they don't shoot with the finished look of a movie. They have what's called a flat profile, which means the colors are washed out and the tone of the movie is then set by the color grade. If it's warm, if it's cold, if it's shifted towards any hue, how much is the contrast and stuff like that. That all sets the mood of the movie, and that's visual post-production. Then also there's audio post-production. That is audio editing and mixing, putting all the audio clips like the dialogues and the sound effects where they need to be, and not only in their timeline like regarding the time, but also regarding the space. If you are sitting in the movies, in the theater, you know that if there's a sound effect, you can hear it from all different sides, not only left and right, but also front and back. And with the Dolby Atmos also above you, and basically in 365 degrees bubble all around you. Don't forget the sound effects, Foley. If you have, for example, like footsteps or breaking glass, or like if you shoot a gun and the empty shell falls to the ground. Those are all the Foley sound designs. You also need to synchronize all the sound between the video takes and when actor is speaking. For example, you have an English speaking actor and then you want to have the movie in German. You need to do overdubbing and synchronize the opening of the mouth of the actor with the new sound that was dubbed by another actor, right? Don't also forget about the music composition. That is old sound in the movie, the music that makes the mood, which is not recorded when the movie is shot on set. That is all done in the post-production, and that is all the scoring in the movie. If it's a happy melody, if it's dramatic, or it's scary or sad, right? That's the basics of the post-production video and audio. Now, this is just the production timeline. Let's look to the various roles that are involved in the making of the movie. So, on the set, who is who? Director. Director is the main guy who is responsible for the big picture in the movie, right? He oversees the creative aspects. He has the movie vision, the final look in mind, and he decides, he calls the shots. What's going to go where, how this is going to be in each and every step of the shooting. Below the director is DP or DOP, which is a director of photography or the main cinematographer, right? All the different names for the same role. DP has the visual style of shots in mind. He decides what cameras are going to be used, with what lenses, where are going to be positions for all the different cameras, how the lighting is going to be applied to the set in order to create the feel director wants to have in the particular scene or shot. How are going to be the frames of the cameras, when it's going to be a close-up, when it's going to be a medium shot, right? This is decided in the pre-production with the director. He also then oversees the shooting. Now, helping him is the AD, assistant of director. He basically is managing the script while shooting, responsible for smooth going of the recording, like each scene every day, right? He's the right hand of the director, greatly helping him because obviously there's too much work for one guy to do. Then there's CO. CO is a camera operator, right? If you have more than one cameras on the set, there are obviously going to be more COs. CO is the guy who holds the camera and points to what needs to be shot, right? If you are taking a shot at the one actor and then camera swings to the right or the left for some action that's happening, that's the job of a CEO. Now, CEO has assistants as well as director has assistants, right? So first AC and second AC are the assistants for camera operator. And obviously if you have several CEOs, like if you are shooting on like 4 or 5 cameras, there are going to be first AC and second AC for all those CEOs as well. So that's like 10 people already. First AC, first assistant of camera, is called the focus puller. Modern movie cameras, in contrast with like consumer grade cameras, they don't have autofocus. The focus is pulled manually, so every time anything moves in the shot, focus puller has to do his work in changing the focus a little bit in order to keep everything sharp, right? He is responsible for movie looking good, sharp and not blurry, and he is working constantly. It's very hard job, not for beginner. It needs several years of experience in order to do it right. Then there's also the second AC, and he's assistant to focus puller, and he mainly works with the clapper. When director calls to roll cameras, he claps the slate, and the editors then use the clap for synchronizing audio with the video, and also in order to know which shot is where in the story. Now, I forgot, I need to go back a little bit to the ADs. I explained that the camera operator has 1, 2 or more assistants, and I just glazed over the assistants of directors. So let's go over those for a little bit. There's first, second, third and fourth assistant director, right? And each one of them has very special role. First AD, or first assistant of director, he runs the daily set and crew. He is responsible for taking care of everybody knowing what to do and when to do it, because that's a lot of work. There's also second AD, or second assistant of director. He has the call sheets and he makes sure every of the main actors is ready where they need to be. They work them through the makeup and hair and costumes and stuff like that, and takes care of each actor to get them on stage when they need to be. The third AD, he is the extras coordinator. If there are any extras in the shots, like for example you have a scene in the city when there are like 3 main actors speaking and then there's like a dozen of people just walking around the streets, it's the work of the third AD to coordinate those extras. And there's also fourth AD who helps with location coordination. Like if you have any onlookers, if you are shooting in the middle of a big city like for example New York, you're going to have a lot of onlookers. You need to coordinate the traffic and stuff like that. You need to coordinate maybe with the local law enforcement in order to close up some parts of a road or city or whatever. And that's the job of the fourth AD, right? So we went through the director, DP, AD, camera operator, first and second AC. Now, who's the grip? The grip is a guy or girl who takes care of the camera gear. Like everything that involves putting camera together. That's all the tripods, dollies, cranes, all the mat boxes and lenses and stuff. That's the work of a grip. The CO, the camera operator, operates mostly stationary cameras or basic walking shots. If you want to have a fast moving shot with gliding motion, but on foot, you have a Steadicam operator. Those are the guys with the big vests that have the cameras on them and they can run and the footage is stable. In contrast with motion techs who operate cranes and dollies, who do like shooting from a car and stuff like that. So the difference between the Steadicam and motion tech is if it's a handheld or if it's stabilizing with some sort of gear. Obviously we need boom operator. Boom operator is a guy with a big stick and a microphone at the end recording dialogue of the main actors. He is working closely with the production sound mixer, who is recording all the audio on set. There's obviously a lot more roles involved in the audio, but this is just going really fast through all the main roles. Who's the gaffer? You probably know what's a gaffer tape. Yeah, gaffer tape comes from the gaffer. Gaffer is a guy who's the main electrical and lights guy in the movie production on set, and he works very closely with the AD, assistant of director, mostly first AD. Gaffer is responsible for putting the lights where they need to be and taking care of having enough power for those lights. Then we have Best Boy. Best Boy is assistant to a gaffer or a grip. Best boy electric and best boy non-electric. Then we have a lot more people working on movies, and those are the people in art department, stunts, costumes, special effects, hair and makeup. Obviously those roles are mainly self-explanatory, right? Costumes, hair, makeup, you have like the main people who are managing a team of few artists and their assistants. Regarding art department, you have building the set and maintaining the set. You have guys who are looking over the props, guys who are buying props, repairing props, placing them where they need to be. They are advised by script supervisor, who takes care of movie continuity, but we will talk about him later. Obviously special effects, if you have some explosions or fog or stuff like that, that's all on set, not done by a computer. That's everything practical, manual, shot on a camera as it's happening. Off the set roles, which are also extremely important, and they mostly consist of people in the post-production, but there are a lot of people who are involved in the pre and also production. Obviously, first and the most important role in the movie, the producer. Producer hires cast, he hires the director, he sources the money, he is the one responsible for movie to be shot, and he either gets a great praise or his head is on a chopping block if the movie does not good. Location manager, self-explanatory. Location manager is a guy who is responsible for scouting and securing locations for shooting. He has several guys working under him, going all around the world or maybe around the state, depends on how's the movie shot. And he's first finding all the locations that are going to be shot in, securing all the necessary permissions in order to shoot them, and taking shots like photographs and video to take to pre-production in order to plan everything. Then you have set designers. Obviously, set designer is somebody who takes the locations that are planned and also design sets that are going to be placed there. Like, for example, if you need to block a part of the street by green screen, that's the job of set designer. Also, if you are shooting strictly in the studio and building, for example, some interior, that's the job of a set designer. He prepares set for build and shooting. Then you have the construction coordinator. When everything is planned and designed and everything has vision how it should be, construction coordinator with his crew is there to build it, right? They are guys with the hammers and saws, and they work with their hands tirelessly in order to make those visions come true. Then script supervisor. As I already mentioned, script supervisor is extremely important role which deals with the movie continuity between shots, regarding the props, regarding the costumes, makeup, etc. He takes care for having actors have the same stuff at the same place between shots, because you can shoot a dialogue or maybe car chase between two locations in a matter of several days, sometimes even months, and they need to be sure that if the actor was wearing a red shirt, holding a blue cup in the right hand, it stays that way between shots, and there's not a teleporting mug and color changing t-shirts. Obviously you need transport, because if you have a movie crew this big, you need to get on location, off location. You have people that are running errands that need also transporting. There's catering that is taking care of the food and drinks for not only actors but also the whole crew. Everybody who's building, everybody who's preparing, who's assisting. Back office, obviously, that's legal, that's accounting, that's licensing and marketing and social media and stuff like that. And now we get to the like true post-production. For example, composer. Composer is a role of audio designer who works on the music for the movie. That's a guy who creates the soundtracks for the scenes. There's involvement in writing process, there's involvement in recording, mixing, mastering, right? Then you have Foley artists. Foley artists are people who design and record the sound effects like footsteps. Like if you have, for example, opening doors or car crashes and all those little sound effects in the movies that make it sound like a real life, that's Foley. Then another important role is ADR. If you are shooting in the location and dialogue is not audible, is not clear, you have ADR. ADR takes care of re-recording the audio dialogues and putting them back in the movie and synchronizing them with how it was supposed to be shot on the location, but it was impossible to do. Then obviously you have audio editor who puts all these different pieces like music, like soundtrack, then all the Foley effects, all the dialogues in the right place. And then you have a mixer who puts them in the right speaker. Like if there's a car coming from behind and passing you on the right, he needs to take care of that Foley to go from the right rear speaker through central speaker to the right front speaker. That's the role of a sound mixer. Then you have a storyboard. Storyboard is taking the written script and putting it in a visual form so there can start a preparation for the movie. If you have written script and put it in the storyboard, then you have Previs. Previs are pre-visuals. There are basic animations showing how the movie would be with special effects. Regarding the special effects, if you have like for example some superhero movie and you have a live actor on set who is going to have like some special powers, Previs does the basic animation. Then there comes the specialists, and first you have modelers, right? They do the basic 3D models of all the different elements that are going to appear on the screen. In order for the model to move, then comes the riggers, and they put a special structure inside the model that allows the structure to move. And in order for this rigged model to move, you then have animators who take care of animation itself, obviously, because it's not just to make it move, but it does need to move in a special way in order to be believed. The model does need to have weight, it does need to interact with other objects and stuff. Then you have rotoscoping. Rotoscoping is cutting out a piece of filmed footage in order to make place for a 3D model to exchange it, right? So for example, if you have a shot where you have let's say artist in a motion capture suit, you need to remove him and then replace him with the 3D model that's animated based on that motion capture performance, right? That's the work of a rotoscope and compositor. Rotoscope prepares the footage by extracting what is not supposed to be in the movie, and then compositor takes the finished animation from modeler and rigger and puts it into the movie where it belongs. Then you have colorists. Colorists do color grading and color correction of the movie because, for example, you might shoot it in a cloudy day, but you need to make it look like it's an evening. And you, for example, want to make it look like it's like a desert country, so you put like a yellowish brown hue on the movie, so it looks like it's shot in a different environment that it was actually shot in. And there's a lot more roles regarding the post-production, visual design and effects, but this is the most basic rundown of all the different movie roles that are involved in a big budget production. Obviously, if you're going to shoot a movie that's going to be like low budget, you're shooting with 5 friends, you're not going to have 2,500 roles in the movie, but each one of those roles is going to be filled in some way, shape or form. And many times there are people who take 2, 3 or 4 roles at the same time. For example, you might have only one guy who's taking care of all the audio, right? You might have just director with one assistant who's taking all 4 assistant roles. You might have actors who have some backstage roles while they are not acting. Like you can have a actor who is not in the scene who is doing the gaffer work, and or maybe he's good with audio and he's doing the mixing, or maybe he's doing rigging, right? If you're interested more into these movie roles and to explain them better and more in the details, let me know in the comments. I would be very happy to split this into maybe a few videos going more into detail into each of the roles. But I need to know that you're interested in that. So that's for today. I'm very happy I've done this because this is a huge passion of mine. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, and see you tomorrow. Bye.